everybody, it's Calxiyn here. So we're talking about something weird today. So if you guys don't know, I'm actually taking a myths class at Ryerson, like Greek myths and Nordic myths and all of that
myths.
stuff.
Sorry, say myth again?
I have no, I'm pretty sure I have a midterm soon, but I have no idea what's going on.
I have 2 fucking midterms, and look at what I'm doing. Not studying, here in a fucking basement playing RWBY.
I do have a personal essay about social media, though, and I am going to talk about the YouTube channel and how y'all are ruining my life, so in case you wanted to know.
So you can quote me saying that this is also impacting my life.
Yeah. So
in a negative fashion.
I have a myths class, and I'm pretty sure we have a midterm soon. And last week we talked about Atlas, the Titan. So basically, this got me thinking of the namesake of Atlas, the country. And so let me just read y'all some stuff. So basically, Atlas, if you guys don't know, is he's the Greek god who's holding up the earth, basically.
Oh, so that's why they call atlases, because it's like the world. And it was
so Atlas and his brother Meatides sided with the Titans in their war against the Olympians, the Titanomachy. When the Titans were defeated, many of them, including Meatides, were confined to Tartarus. But Zeus condemned Atlas to stand at the western edge of Gaia, the earth, and hold up the sky on his shoulders to prevent the two from resuming their predominal embrace. Thus, he was Atlas, Talabund, enduring Atlas, and became the doublet of Kessos, the embodiment of the celestial axes around which the heavens revolved. A common misconception today is that Atlas was forced to hold the earth on his shoulders, but classical art shows that Atlas is holding the celestial spheres, not the globe. The solidify of the marble globe, borne by renowned Farnese Atlas, may have aided the confliction, reinforced the 16th century's idea, developing the uses of Atlas to describe a corpus of a terrestrial map. So that's what you were talking about, right?
What do you mean? Yeah.
And so it's not holding up the Earth; it's holding up the sky, I guess. But you could say Earth.
Universe,
it doesn't. The universe, yeah. It doesn't really matter.
The Milky Way.
And so, in a late story, a giant named Atlas tried to drive a wandering Perseus from a place where the Atlas Mountains now stand. In Ovid's telling, Perseus revealed Medusa's head, turning Atlas to stone, those very mountains. But Atlas tried to drive him away because Perseus, who went there accidentally, asked Atlas for hospitality, named himself the son of Zeus, and prophecy said that Zeus would steal golden apples from Atlas's orchard. As not an uncommon myth, this cannot be reconciled with the far more common stories of Atlas dealing with Hercules, another son of Zeus, who was Perseus's great-grandson, who sought the golden apples. According to Plato, the first king of Atlantis was also named Atlas, and that Atlas was the son of Poseidon.
Nice to know that.
So, it's nice to know that we're getting, like, all twisted up in here, right? One of the 12 labors of the hero Hercules was to fetch some of the golden apples that grow in Hera's garden, tended by Atlas's daughters and guarded by a dragon. So Hercules went there and got the apples. So upon his return with the apples, though, Atlas attempted to trick Hercules into carrying the sky permanently by offering to deliver the apples, as anybody who purposely took his burden must carry it forever until somebody else took it away. Heracles, I guess, right? Because this is Greek. Suspecting Atlas did not return, pretended to agree with Atlas's offer, asking that Atlas take the sky again for a few minutes so Hercules could rearrange his cloak padding on his shoulders. When Atlas set down the apples and took the heavens upon his shoulders again, Heracles took the apples and ran the fuck away. So that is the legend.
Dick.
Heracles, yeah.
God, everyone's a dick in ancient.
So how does this relate to Atlas as a country, I guess is what we're talking about. So Atlas is obviously at the corner of the globe. Right, it's the tallest. It's the top. It's sort of like, you know.
Is what's it called? Remnant flat, or is it a spherical body?
I have no idea. I ask myself that every day. So here's my idea: is that Atlas is sort of burdened to carry the Earth, but in a different way. So like a lot of dust mines seem to be in Atlas because that's where Shnee's main operations is. So they basically feed all of the technology for all of the world, and that's why when they close their borders, that becomes problematic. So I basically think that Atlas was named Atlas because it has that reference to how Atlas in Remnant is holding up the rest of the world with its technological advances, because without those advances we'd all be in a bad place, you know what I mean? And it is Atlas's burden given to them sort of by the gods, if you want to call it that,
if we want to go
be
with
that
the
country.
Imperial.
Well, by the
know,
gods,
but-
like that's the gods of Remnant, right? The god of light and god of Ver, because I'm pretty sure the relic of creation is in Atlas. Right? And so that is the burden of Atlas, that Atlas has the relic of creation, and so they must create all of these different technologies for the world to prosper, you know, and so they have this burden of having to give themselves up to the rest of the world, in a sense. Because obviously, like, they're in a cushy place, but, you know, like, it's not fair that, like, you have to kind of, that you got stuck with probably one of the worser relics. Worser? Probably one of the worstest?
The least
Good relic, right? Because if you think about it, destruction can be used to be self-serving, and I don't mean that in a selfish, like, dark god way, but I mean just in general, like, choice, right? But when you create something, everybody is going to want equal access to that thing, whereas destruction, not everybody's gonna want the relic of destruction, but not to be destroyed. So it isn't necessarily that everybody wants a relic of creation, they want what the relic of creation creates. And so that saddles Atlas with this task of having to be sort of the hub of the world's technology, and so that's damaging to them because they will always sort of be this target, and Ironwood is obviously closing the borders, not transporting dust out, and that action of not giving out the dust is going to doom the rest of the world, even though the rest of the world should have probably, like, figured out their own resources. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that's part one, basically. Like, that's the holding up the sky part of it. So the other part of it is the golden apple. So we had a theory before that John was Hercules and that his semblance would be super strength. That
And we were
didn't
wrong.
happen.
Listen,
So,
right, we're wrong most of the time.
well, we also did a theory about how Jean's thing would be aura amplification before the episode aired, and we got that, so
Fair enough.
it's the most important thing that we've ever did, probably. But in terms of, like, this, I think that the golden apples thing is sort of gonna be a reference to the relic, because remember Heracles was on the 7 lavers to kind of go into Hera's garden, which had the apples in them, and then, you know, grab them, right? Grab them from Atlas's daughters, and Atlas, who was just kind of chilling there, right, with the garden. And so I think that is sort of meaning with the relic, is that someone will be tasked to go get the relic, and Atlas is going to attempt to trick them, but then Heracles is going to be a dick and run away. And so I don't know who that necessarily will be, but I can see that sort of being a, you know, somebody on the bad guys' side that is sort of representing that part of the story, that the relic of creation is that golden apple that everybody wants so much, and that's one of the labors, and Atlas gets tricked in the process. And by Atlas, you could say that Ironwood is sort of the embodiment of Atlas, because he's the protector of Atlas. You know what I mean? And so, as much as the council sort of defends people, protects people, I think that Ironwood himself is the embodiment of the country. And so I think that it will be more the country will be tricked into giving up its prized possession, which is not an apple in this case, but instead the relics, right?
And also, it does have a sort of golden glow to it.
The relic?
Yes. Or at least the other one did. It had, like,
Well,
that blue-gold glow to it. So, I guess that visual metaphor.
So that's basically it for this idea. So I've never seen this talked about before, I don't think, and so I wanted to talk about that because suddenly I'm an expert on all the Greek myths because I'm taking a course. Like, that's just kind of how things go on this channel, is that we go to school and then we find something, and then Hunter talks about, like, society for like 10 minutes while we're talking about John, and that's just kind of how things go, right?
That was less me and more, that was less school and more Anita Strasesian, but I digress.
Anyways, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. What do you think, though? Do you think that this is a good idea? Like, do you think
entirely, I don't exactly know where Jacques would fit into this.
Well, maybe Jacques is the one
it's
sort
not
of
all
stealing the
encompassing.
apples, in a
Maybe.
sense,
I guess
because
that is true.
he wants to create more stuff to be a better company, you know? And so maybe he gets approached by Cinder in Salem, and then now that Cinder is dead...
Yeah, do you think that they would do something like that?
Maybe.
That's a theory
And
for a
that
different
Jacques
time.
is the one to kind of try to get the relic from Ironwood and all that nonsense, because I think they are going to involve Jacques somehow. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this fits because you sort of have two embodiments of something. The Fief, who would be, you know, Jacques, and then the country, who would be Ironwood, and you kind of have all of this symbolism going on, and Atlas being, again, at the corner of the world, and holding up the sky, all of that fun stuff.
Holding it down.
Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you guys should be patrons over on Patreon, and we will see you guys later. Bye, guys.